Something dark is happening with Blueface, and the internet cannot look away. The moment those yard photos dropped, fans froze. Because the man in those images did not look like the Blueface they once knew. His face, completely covered in tattoos. His body, alarmingly bulked up, almost unrecognizable. It sparked a wildfire of rumors, whispers spreading through every corner of social media. Is Blueface on steroids? What happened to him? And then, his mother, Carlisa Saffold, stepped into the chaos. She jumped online, insisting her son was perfectly fine. He is not on drugs, she said, he is just eating well, sleeping better, and working out in jail. But before people could even take that in, she said something that shattered her own defense. She admitted he was barely getting any food inside. Fans were stunned. How could both be true? The contradiction was so wild that people started calling her out immediately. They said Carlisa was just chasing attention again, desperate to control the narrative, no matter how many lies it took. But this is where things get really messy. Because according to several sources, Jaidyn Alexis, Blueface's longtime on and off partner, has been losing her mind over what's happening. She is furious. And insiders claim she might have a lot more to do with Blueface's new look than anyone realizes. Now let's rewind, because this next part broke the internet. Blueface got Crazy Rock's name tattooed on his face. The reveal happened live, right in front of thousands. Crazy was streaming when she took a jail call from Blueface, and mid-conversation, he turned the camera just enough to show it off. That moment, that tattoo, exploded across TikTok and Twitter within minutes. Crazy's face lit up with pure disbelief and giddy excitement. It was like the chaos between them had melted away for a second. But someone else was not smiling. Jaidyn. The second she saw it, she snapped. She called it disgusting, saying Blueface had lost all sense of respect, especially because he got Crazy's name inked right next to his daughter's journey. And that, according to people close to her, was the ultimate betrayal. Because to Jaidyn, that tattoo was not just ink, it was a message. It meant that no matter what she endured, no matter how many times she stood by him, Blueface's heart had always belonged to someone else. There is something almost tragic about the way Blueface's story keeps twisting, because what started as a simple prison rumor has now exploded into something darker, heavier, and far more complicated. According to insiders, Blueface did not want Crazy or their son, Crazy Jr., to feel forgotten. That was his reasoning, or at least that is what he told people close to him, for getting her name tattooed across his face. He wanted to keep the peace, to prove that he still cared, even behind bars. But to Jaidyn, that gesture was pure betrayal dressed as sentiment. She did not see love, she saw manipulation. And then came the whispers. Theories started spreading like wildfire, that Blueface's new bulked-up physique was not natural at all. Some claimed he was using steroids to achieve that sudden transformation. Others took it a step further, saying he had been pressured into the tattoos, forced to conform to the unspoken rules of life behind bars. Inside prison walls, everything has a price, even your skin. Tattoos can mean loyalty. Or they can mean survival. Refuse the wrong thing, and you might end up paying for it in pain, humiliation, or worse. And while none of this has been proven, people cannot help but notice how eerily fast Blueface's transformation happened. After all, this is a man who has always proudly repped the schoolyard Crips, that part of his identity was never hidden. But those gang ties come with expectations, ones that grow heavier when you are locked away. Blueface himself once described gang life as bittersweet. The power, the respect, they all come with a cost. And now, behind those bars, that cost might be catching up to him. Fans online have not missed the math either. If Carlisa says he is barely eating, how on earth did he manage to gain that much muscle, that fast? The internet did not buy it. They started calling out what they saw as clear signs of steroid use. But that is not the only thing Carlisa cannot stop talking about. Because, of course, she had to bring love into the chaos. Again. According to her, Blueface has already found himself a new woman, a mysterious figure named Angela. And this is not the first time Carlisa has dropped a wild girlfriend reveal either. She has done it before. Remember when she swore Blueface and Megan Thee Stallion were a thing? That one aged like milk. But this time, she doubled down. A video surfaced of Carlisa having lunch with this Angela, smiling for the camera and fielding questions from fans like it was a press conference. The internet went ballistic. Who is Angela? Where did she come from? And why is she suddenly being paraded around like the new First Lady of Chaos? Turns out, Angela is allegedly Blueface's high school sweetheart, and, plot twist, she is supposedly moving into his apartment already. And if that is not enough drama, there is talk of a new reality show called LA Family Blues, allegedly centered around Blueface's family. Which, if you have been paying attention, is basically an invitation for every single person in his orbit, including Crazy, to bring the fireworks. Because let's be honest, Carlisa does not know how to stay out of anyone's business, especially Krzian's. It is like she is addicted to chaos, feeding off every headline, every live stream, every argument that does not even involve her. And that obsession has become contagious. Even Krzian, who tried to stay quiet for a while, seems pulled back into the drama like a magnet. When Blueface went on a date with his new girlfriend, somehow Krzian's name still dominated the conversation. Like a ghost that refuses to leave the room. Every laugh, every post, every caption, it all circles back to her. It is not just messy, it is haunting. People online are saying it out loud now. Blueface's new romance is not about love, it is about revenge. This is not healing, this is performance art fueled by heartbreak. Every photo, every flirty post feels like a message aimed straight at Krzian. Look at me. I am fine without you. But Carlisa, being Carlisa, had to twist the knife even further. She reminded the world that while her son was locked up, Krzian had already moved on, not once, but twice. In her eyes, that meant the fairy tale was over. Still, the internet never forgets. The fans remember everything, the crying live streams, the messy breakups, the public apologies that turned into new betrayals the next day. They have seen this story play out 100 times, and they know it never really ends. It just pauses. So now, as Blueface release inches closer, everyone is asking the same question: are we about to witness another season of public heartbreak, jealousy, and humiliation? Or, for the first time ever, is someone in this tangled web finally ready to walk away? From the outside, it might look like the chaos has peaked, but trust me, this saga is only just warming up. Every single person in this circle breathes attention like oxygen. They live for the spotlight even when they pretend they hate it. Each one plays a character so flawlessly it feels scripted: the ex who cannot stop speaking her truth, the new girlfriend flaunting her calm like armor, the friend who never says too much but always says just enough to keep their name trending. And then there is Carlisa, the self-appointed narrator of everyone's downfall. She is not in the relationship, but she is always hovering nearby, stirring the pot from the sidelines like a reality TV producer disguised as a concerned mother. One minute she is giving advice, the next she is throwing shade wrapped in Bible verses and hashtags. Every time Blueface or Krzian's names resurface, somehow Carlisa's voice echoes right after, soft enough to sound innocent, sharp enough to slice through the piece they never really had. Then came the date clip. That one clip turned the internet upside down. Blueface, sitting across from his new girl, said Krzian's name like it meant nothing, but his smirk told a different story. His eyes flickered, his posture stiffened. It was not a slip-up. It was strategy. Fans caught it instantly. Some swore he did it on purpose, that it was bait designed to drag Krzian back into his orbit. Others claimed he was just being messy for engagement. Whatever the truth, it worked, instantly. The clip exploded. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Hashtags revived overnight. And through it all, Carlisa was watching, not surprised, not confused, but ready. She slid into the conversation like she had been rehearsing her entrance for weeks. On a live stream, she said, "Y'all act like Krzian is innocent. That girl been living her best life since Blue got locked up. Y'all forget she had 2 dudes before he even touched free air." That sentence alone set off an inferno. Twitter erupted. TikTok dissected every word. Half the internet agreed, calling Krzian a hypocrite. The other half defended her, saying she deserved to heal however she wanted after years of emotional chaos. But one thing united everyone: Carlisa knew exactly how to keep the fire burning. She never has to start drama directly, she just drops breadcrumbs and lets the internet feast. One tweet. One side-eye on live. One cryptic post. That is all it takes. And before you know it, thousands are arguing over what she really meant. Some say Carlisa is cozying up to Blueface's new girl just to stay relevant. Others think she is playing spy, infiltrating from within, collecting gossip to deliver back to Krzian. No one knows her true motive, but everyone agrees on one thing: Carlisa loves the stage that comes with the storm. And really, can you blame her? In this new digital era, drama is currency. Attention is the new paycheck. A single name drop can turn into a million-view clip. A well-timed mistake can rewrite a narrative in seconds. Everyone in this mess understands that: Blueface, Krzian, Carlisa. They are not just living their lives, they are performing them. Every tear, every apology, every explosive reunion broadcasted live, it is all part of the same tragic, beautiful, infuriating show. Some fans think the whole thing is orchestrated, a masterclass in chaos marketing. Think about it: Blueface mysteriously debuts a new girlfriend right before his release. Krzian hops on live hours later, visibly emotional. Carlisa conveniently, accidentally, answers a fan question about it, and suddenly all 3 are trending again. Coincidence? Maybe. But the timing feels too perfect. too predictable, like they all know their roles and are following the same script. But others see something deeper, something heartbreakingly human. They do not see clout chasing, they see two souls who cannot let go. Blueface and Chrisian are like magnets, toxic, magnetic, tragic. No matter who they date, no matter how far they drift, something invisible keeps pulling them back together. When Blueface mentioned her name on that date, it was not random, it was muscle memory. Emotional reflex. The kind that comes from loving someone so intensely you never fully recover. And Carlisa? She becomes the echo, saying out loud everything Chrisian keeps buried inside. One viral tweet said it best, Blueface is being touched. And no, it was not about the physical. It was about emotional exposure, the idea that no matter how hard he flexes, no matter how loud he shouts, Chrisian still gets under his skin. She still holds that power. And that is why people keep watching. Because underneath the memes and the mess, this story is heartbreak in slow motion. But Carlisa keeps making it messier. Every time she speaks, she resets the narrative. She moves the spotlight like a director calling for the next scene. Her timing is surgical. Right after Blueface starts trending, she posts. Right after Chrisian goes quiet, she reappears. It is almost supernatural, like she can feel when the attention is about to fade and resurrects herself right on cue. Some believe she is angling for something bigger, maybe a TV deal, maybe her own reality show moment. Others think she is just addicted to relevance. Either way, she is not stepping back. She cannot. Every live, every interview, every cryptic caption ties her tighter to the chaos she claims she is only commenting on. Meanwhile, Chrisian's fans are drained. They have watched her cry, fight, rise, fall, over and over again. They beg for peace. But peace does not trend. Peace does not sell. Peace does not feed the algorithm. So even when she goes silent, her name finds its way back, through Blueface's smirk, through Carlissa's mouth, through the audience that refuses to look away. Because in this story, silence is never the end. It is just the pause before the next explosion. There is one thing you start to notice when you watch Blueface long enough: he does not just survive the chaos, he feeds on it. Every meltdown, every viral live stream, every breakup that turns into a headline, it all fuels him. To him, attention is oxygen. It does not matter if it is love or hate, praise or outrage, as long as his name is in people's mouths, he is alive. Every controversy becomes marketing. Every apology turns into a stream. Every breakup ends right where a new single drops. And the fans? They fall for it every time. Because chaos, in Blueface's world, is not the problem, it is the business plan. But that is what makes it all so painfully predictable. Everyone already knows the script by heart. He gets a new girl. Chrisian reacts. Carlisa comments. The internet explodes. Then a few weeks later, there is a tearful reunion, a shocking twist, maybe even a "we're trying again" post. Rinse. Repeat. It is a cycle so familiar it feels rehearsed. But this time feels different. Because now, he is getting out. And the stakes have never been higher. The tension is coiled tight. Fans are waiting, holding their breath, wondering what comes next. Will Chrisian finally walk away for good? Will Carlisa keep playing the puppet master? Or will they all end up in the same room again, smiling through gritted teeth, pretending everything is fine while the resentment simmers under the surface like fire beneath glass? At this point, it is hard to tell where the real people end and the characters begin. Every tear feels like performance art. Every smirk looks rehearsed. Every "I'm done" sounds like the cliffhanger to another episode. Maybe they are no longer living their story, maybe they are trapped in it. Trapped in a never-ending show that they built themselves. And the audience? They are not leaving. They are obsessed. They want closure. They want another twist. They want another scandal to dissect. The tragedy is that hunger keeps the show alive, and Blueface, Chrisian, and Carlisa know it. So they keep performing. Because that is what pays the bills. That is what keeps them relevant. That is what keeps them seen. But behind all that noise, behind the jokes and the gossip, there is something darker hiding in plain sight. Look closely at Blueface now. The face covered in ink. The muscles that grew too fast. The hollow look in his eyes that no amount of fame can hide. Someone once asked, why would he do that to himself? And the question was not about style. It was about pain. About a man who has seen too much, trusted too little, and learned to express his grief in the only language that no one could silence, his skin. In places like prison, tattoos are not decoration. They are armor. A way of saying, do not touch me. Because when you live in a world where your name, your freedom, your dignity can be stripped from you overnight, ink becomes the only thing you truly own. Every line, every mark, becomes a piece of your story that no one can rewrite. And when words fail you, when your voice no longer matters, pain becomes your signature. But some people whisper a darker version of that story. They say he was forced to do it. That someone made him mark his face. That the tattoos were not art, they were warnings. And suddenly, it stops feeling like rebellion and starts looking like surrender. You can see it in his expression, the exhaustion, the vacancy. Those eyes do not belong to a man celebrating freedom. They belong to someone trying to remember who he was before the world branded him. Because when ink becomes a command instead of a choice, it stops being identity, it becomes captivity. And that is the kind of pain that does not wash off. A fan online said it best, "I do not think he is crazy. I think he is broken." And that hits harder than any diss track ever could. Because maybe this is not a man chasing clout, maybe it is a man drowning quietly in plain sight. Maybe every tattoo is a scream the world keeps mistaking for confidence. You start to picture the version of him that existed before the headlines, a boy with big dreams, laughing easily, believing the world might be kind. But somewhere along the way, life hardened him. Love betrayed him. Fame consumed him. The tattoos started small, one mark, one meaning. Then one day, they became the only way he could feel in control. Until even that control was taken from him. Prison does not just lock away your body, it erases your reflection. And when you come out, the person in the mirror is not you anymore. The ink becomes your armor, your mask, your last defense against a world that stopped listening. So maybe Blueface is not a villain, not a victim, but a man who learned to survive by turning pain into performance. Maybe every tattoo, every argument, every viral meltdown is not a publicity stunt, it is a coping mechanism. Because grief, when ignored for too long, always finds its own language. And for some people, that language is permanent. His eyes, those are what stay with you. Because the eyes never lie. They are not the eyes of a man proud of his choices. They are the eyes of someone haunted, by memories, by mistakes, by a silence so loud it echoes through every glance. There is a fragility there, a kind of exhaustion that makes you want to look away, but you cannot. You just cannot. You can almost hear the questions running through his head. What am I now? Do I still deserve to be seen? Will anyone ever see me, not the ink, not the headlines, not the chaos, but me? And the truth is, the world rarely answers questions like that. It just points, labels, and scrolls past. Criminal. Crazy. Hopeless. Words that are easier than empathy. Maybe that is the real tragedy here, that his pain became a public spectacle. Every mark on his skin might be a silent scream for help, but people turn it into entertainment. They do not see the loneliness, the coercion, the trauma beneath the surface. They see clicks. They see clout. They see a story, not a soul. And yet, he is still there, buried under the ink, under the gossip, under everyone else's opinions, trying to make sense of a life that stopped making sense a long time ago. We live in a world that loves to judge pain but never to understand it. When someone falls apart in private, we call them weak. When they do it in public, we call them crazy. When they wear their pain on their body, we call them attention-seeking. But what do you call a person who has run out of ways to speak? Because when no one listens, your body becomes your message. Every tattoo becomes a confession carved into your skin, a permanent reminder that you still exist. It is self-expression.